Hello, my name is Mark Schipper-Mueller. I'm a product manager at ARRI, and I will give you a short introduction to the ARRI large format camera system, especially with their newest lovely member, the Alexa Mini LF. So I'm going to start with an overview. We have 6 components in the ARRI large format camera system. There's the Alexa LF, there's the brand new Alexa Mini LF. We have a lovely set of ARRI signature primes. There's the LPL lens mount, which is the mount that we have here on the Alexa LF and also on the Mini LF. And we have a PL to LPL adapter and the LDS2 lens metadata system. We also have some updated workflow apps and some apps on our website. And all these parts have been designed together to take full advantage of the larger sensor, while also offering compatibility with existing lenses, accessories, and workflows. Now, we started in March of 2018 with the Alexa LF. This camera has a large format sensor. The sensor is twice as large as a regular Super 35 sensor. And the Alexa LF goes high speed up to 150 frames a second with a full sensor width and full image quality. This is something unusual, and the high speed is something that's needed for commercials, for instance. The Alexa LF has 3 independent SDI outputs. It has lots of accessory power outputs and a built-in wireless video transmitter, which makes the camera very uncluttered. The Alexa LF by now has sold hundreds of cameras, and the large format look is getting more and more popular. All the cinematographers I talked to that have used the Alexa LF want to keep using it. They shoot a project with it. They want to shoot the next project also with the Alexa LF. Alexa LF is right now being used on many feature films, television shows, and commercials, including The Mandalorian, which is a Star Wars television series shot by Greg Fraser, who's now moving on to shoot Dune with the Alexa LF, and I'm very curious how that's going to look. Lyrebird is a movie shot by Remy Edifarison. Le Mans 66, shot by Faden Papa Michael, and I just realized I don't know how to say 66 in French, my apologies. And Terminator Dark Fate, shot by Ken Seng, many other productions using the Alexa LF, so very popular camera. Now the Mini LF uses the same sensor as the Alexa LF and the same photo sites, but the whole thing we were able to squeeze it into a really tiny Alexa Mini sized body. And in some other clips I'll talk a little bit more about the details of the Alexa Mini LF. Now let's talk a little bit about the sensor. I showed you the Alexa LF sensor. Here is the sensor board of the Alexa Mini LF. It is 36.7 by 25.54 millimeters large, which is actually slightly larger than full format, which is why we called it large format. In comparison here, you can see the Alexa Mini sensor. And you can see that the Mini LF sensor is twice as large as the Alexa Mini sensor. The beautiful news of all this is a 4.5K sensor, so all the recording formats are approved by Netflix from the Alexa Mini LF and the Alexa LF. Now, what do you get when you shoot with these cameras? As with any ARRI camera, you get the Alexa best overall image quality. This means you have the highest dynamic range of any production camera, which makes shooting on the set easier and helps in post-production. You have the lowest noise and very high sensitivity, and you have the ARRI color science for neutral colorimetry and pleasing skin tones. In the end, this means you have good-looking actors, easy color correction in post, and a very clean visual effects. So this system is perfect for modern high dynamic range and wide color gamut displays. But shooting large format does something on top of that. First of all, because you have more photo sites, you have a higher resolution, and you have less noise. Also, the sensor is a new revision of our standard ARRI sensor, so that sensor has less noise than the other sensors. This gets you a higher usable sensitivity. Most cinematographers I talk to rate the Alexa LF at 1280 ASA or even higher without any problems. You get increased sharpness, a higher contrast, and smoother images. And then there's something else that happens. Because the sensor is large, the cinematographer can choose how to take advantage of that. And different cinematographers do different things. It's very interesting. We always thought there is the large format look, but that doesn't really exist. There are different looks, and as a cinematographer, you can choose what you use. But there are other ways to go. You can also keep the angle of view and keep your lens, keep your focal length, and then you have to move the camera closer to the actor in order to get the same angle of view. And this gets you much more intimate with the actors. Now, a DP like Matthias Boucard likes that a lot and uses that a lot. He loves that added intimacy. Or you try to keep the focal length and the distance to your subject, And then you simply get a larger canvas, you get a larger angle of view. This is something that James Laxton likes a lot. And if you haven't looked at it, Google the ARRI Camera Image Masterclass 2018, where James Laxton did a masterclass and talked about this. I got one more example. You could use wide-angle lenses and still get a shallow depth of field. This is a relatively new look, so depending what the DP wants to use, it's a cinematographer's choice. You just have a little more depending which way you want to go. Now, when we designed these beautiful cameras, we also thought about lenses, because the lens is the important thing to the cinematographer. That actually creates the image. And so we wanted to make sure that these cameras are compatible with as many lenses as possible. So here are all the options. First of all, we have a new lens mount. This is the LPL lens mount on the Alexa LF and the Alexa Mini LF camera. This lens mount has a larger diameter, and what that gets us, or actually any lens designer, they can design lenses that have a higher optical quality, are smaller and lighter and faster than if they had to go through the small diameter of the regular PL lens mount. So that's the first thing. And there are a number of LPL lens mount lenses out there already. For instance, the ARRI Signature Primes have the LPL lens mount on it. The Leitz Thalia lenses, Cooke S7 Supreme Primes, the ARRI Rental 65 format lenses, and more are going to come online. I'm expecting to see more at the next trade shows. But we also know there's a lot of PL mount glass out there on the shelves of the rentals, and we want to make sure you can also use those. So there's an adapter. This is the PL to LPL adapter. It's a very sturdy built adapter. It fits beautifully into the LPL lens mount, and then it sits there rock solid. And then you can use any PL mount lenses. Now, there are a lot of PL mount lenses that are designed for full format. You can use those. And there are also a lot of Super 35 PL mount lenses, and you can use those as well. I know Panavision has their own lens mounts for large format cameras as well as for Super 35. They fit on these cameras. And Vantage has their own lens mount that also fits on these cameras. So that's it for the lenses. But then you're going to say, okay, but my Super 35 lenses, do they actually cover the whole sensor? And the answer is some of them actually do. For instance, we have a sensor mode in these cameras. It's called the LF16:9 sensor mode. That is the smallest sensor area that's still Netflix approved. And a lot of Super 35 lenses actually cover this lens mount. We have an online frequently asked questions, an FAQ on our website that lists some of these lenses. And there also is an online tool called the Frameline and Lens Illumination tool that allows you to see, for a given sensor, which lens covers how much. And you can actually design a frame line and then see for that frame line for your show, do my lenses cover, do they not cover? So I highly recommend go and play with this tool. I think that'll give you a good idea of which lenses you can start testing for your next show and which not. And that is it for the large format camera system. Here's the complete system. It allows you to get the large format look with Alexa's best overall image quality. And we're very much looking forward to seeing what beautiful images you come up with. Thank you.